Greetings people and welcome back to the channel. Today we're coming back to the Akai GXF95. I've been intending to do this for a while now, but just never really had the time to do it. The idea behind today is to see if I can at least get it functional, to see what exactly is actually wrong with it, because I don't even know at this point, because these buttons don't work, the transport doesn't work, it doesn't pass audio, nothing works. So the idea behind today is basically just try to get it up and running and see exactly what else needs to be done with it, because it is an Akai and it's an old Akai, so it's going to be problematic. Most likely very problematic, if I know Akai, and I do know Akai by now. The GXR88 still isn't fully working, and honestly I'm still not that keen to get back into that deck anyway, so whatever. So we're going to try to get this beast going again and see how far we can get it. Now, you might remember from the checkout video I did on this machine that we've got a bunch of broken plastic PC board hinges in there to replace, and these are my replacements for those. These were the only things I could find anywhere in the world that might even kind of do the job, but they'll have to be modified in order to be used in this, so I'll figure that out as I go. For the controls buttons, the plan is to delete the soft touch ones that are in there that always go bad, and we're going to install these instead, and I hope they're the right parts. They are from AliExpress, so not very expensive, but I just hope I can get them to work in here, because we need these buttons working in order to even find out what's going on with this deck. Step number one, I guess, is to get inside and recap the power supply, and I think I also want to measure some voltages, because I think there might be voltages missing from this particular deck. As you might recall, I was not able to get a signal through the source monitor circuit. So it's just not passing audio of any kind. The meters don't work. Nothing works. So I want to check and see if there's any voltages missing from the power supply. And do I need parts for that? What do I need? Anyway, let us start getting into this now. I will pull the cover off and meet you when I'm done with that. Cover is off. And I have a printout of the power supply schematics right here to help us see what's going on, maybe. If I can put it the right way around. Now, since I suspect there is a voltage missing from the audio circuitry, that would probably have to be one of these voltages up here. -15 and +15. One of those may be missing. Those are what I want to check first. Let's see, I need a hole for ground. Here's a hole for ground. You can't see it, but it's there. Power on. Nothing. It's literally not powering up right now. Let's try this again. Oh, there it is. It's just corrosion on the mains connector there. Anyway, let's see. I'm looking for pin 50 and 54. We'll try those to start with. Should get 15 volts and 8 volts, I think. It's hard to tell. Okay, where are these pins at? Where they be at? I don't be seeing them. They be here somewhere. I don't be seeing them. Okay, we got -6 volts on that one. I don't know what these pins are because I can't see any labels. 16.5 there. -9 there, -9, -9. There's a +18 right there. Let's check that one. 19.73, that's good enough. +24 over here. I'm getting 12.8 there on a... Oh no, that should be +12. Never mind. Plus 12 there. Then the 24 volt line is back behind that and proper. I see a 40 volt. Let's check that. If I can remember where I found it. Oh, there it is. 41 volts, that should be good. 10 volts here. Yeah, that looks good. Plus 20 down here. That's good. 14 volts. 4.8. 4.8. 4.8. 4.8. Here's the plus 15 I was looking for. That's there. MPU plus B, 11 volts. This one next to it is a ground. That's a ground. 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 Okay, where's my minus 15? That's what I want to check now. Hard to tell where everything is on this. That's the FG coil right there. Oh, there's minus 15. And that is there. Okay. Power supply seems to be working. So I guess I will power off now and proceed to do my recapping of this board and fixing all these broken plastic hinges. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut one of these barbs off and drill a hole for screws, because that's how these were mounted from factory. All right, I'm midway through replacing these hinges. This back one went okay. These hinges are indeed working out here, but where have we seen this before recently? Yeah, I guess I gotta fix another broken wire. Whatever. That could be causing the issue, but I don't know. We'll see. I gotta fix that. I think it's actually from that there pin right there, if you can see that. But I will get it done, don't worry. Broken wire number 1, fixed. Broken wire number 2, not fixed. This goes to the minus 15 volts. That would explain why there's no audio getting through. I'm going to have to verify that every single one of these wires is intact and in decent shape. I'm half tempted to just replace all of these wires with my ultra flexible stuff I have now. These are all solid core wires. They're breaking all over the place here. I knew I was going to find stuff when I got into this. All right, folks, just working on the power supply, and I'm having to do a lot of work in here because there's a lot of this nasty tan circuit glue in here. I've cleaned up the area under this capacitor, but you can see right next to it is this one, and there's more of that nasty brown circuit glue on there. I'm going to have to go in and delete all of that stuff, and I'm very concerned about some of the corrosion I'm seeing on some component leads here, like R24, not looking so good. This, I don't know what these things are. They look like jumper wires with beads on them. So that's probably what they are, but there's all kinds of nasty tan brown circuit glue all over that stuff down there, and I'm going to have to get rid of it all. Wish me luck, because this ain't fun. Okay, folks, there it is. The power supply has been fully recapped. I've replaced a resistor down there that was all corroded away, and one jumper wire that was just about as bad. Anyway, I think it's good to go now. I haven't found any more broken wires, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. But I think I'm ready to power this up and see if it works now and turns on and such. So let me get this to a point where I can do that. By the way, these hinges don't work quite as well on the power supply board as they do with this board, but they do, well, this board isn't lined up either. I guess I gotta fix that. Oh, fun stuff. I gotta move this whole board that way. Okay, folks, I'm going to do a power up test now. You can't see it, but I'm holding my IR camera right next to the one that's filming this footage, and I'm going to just do a quick power up. And if you guys see any smoke, let me know. Well, that kind of seems silly because you guys aren't doing this live with me, but I'm going to just do a quick power up test and we'll see if any of these capacitors blow up or get hot or something. Here we go now. Deck is online. I'm going to shut it off real quick. No, I think we're good. Everything's lit up on the front that should be. So I think we can, well, how's about this? Let me put a signal through this and we'll see if it's passing audio now, or at least getting through the source monitor. Okay, let's see if we can get some audio through this for the first time ever. I'm just queuing up a track right now. I think it's playing. Yes, it is playing. Power on. Ooh, we've got a signal. That's the first time I've seen the meters work on this bad boy. So we fixed one problem already. Awesome. But I don't want to leave it powered up for too long because we got a lot of work to do yet. Okay, moving on. I have discovered why the door isn't quite cooperating properly when you use the motorized function. It's actually nothing to do with the linkage at all, the power linkage. That's this hinge under here that does that. It's the fact that the door's been rubbing on the front panel for who knows how long that's causing that. So I don't know if I can actually do much about that. This panel appears to be plastic while the door itself is metal, so maybe I can shave a little material off this, but I just don't know if I really want to do too much of that. Okay, folks, I think I got the door fixed. Let's give her a test. I'll tell you how I did it in a second here, assuming this actually works. Beautiful, it is working, good. Okay, so the solution to this problem was coming over to each side and loosening up these screws and then tightening them back down again. That's all. I guess the deck just spent a little too much time going through thermal cycling and just needed these to be sort of loosened up and reset again so that the whole mechanism on either side was just a little bit further down. I'm not 100% happy that the door isn't fully closing, but it is what it is. I don't care about that. As long as the door is moving freely and works properly with the power function, and it is, I'm happy. So the next step is to take that door right back off again so I can get the front panel off so we can replace these button switches. I'm actually going to come back and do that tomorrow because it's Canada Day today, and I'm actually not really intending to do much work today, so I'll see you tomorrow. I just realized I forgot to tell you how the capacitor testing went on this particular deck. Basically, none of them were bad, not one single one. A couple were getting down towards the edge of spec, but nothing serious. The more serious part of that is that gross nastiness. That's circuit glue. That's not capacitor puke. All right, the door is off, so we can get the front panel off now. The door was getting lazy again because I think this whole mechanism in back here has to be re-greased and serviced, but I will do that eventually. I need the transport out of the way first in order to do that. So, pushed the wrong button. We got to take the door off first, and now we can get the face off. I've already removed 3 screws along the bottom. We'll just get these ones up top here, and that should be all we need to do. we've got some spacers up top. Those kinds that go in underneath the screw holes for the face. I will take those off and set them aside. Now, I was hoping it would be easier to get to these button switches, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it is. We have to get in behind here and replace all these button switches is what we need to do. I saw that there was a screw to release on this one side. Kind of a weird looking screw, but whatever. 2 connectors on the back. There, now we can service the control button situation here. Looks like we've got a bunch of lamps in there as well. Great. Just what I wanted to deal with is lamps. I will have to desolder all of these. Actually, you know what? I might even be able to do this without desoldering those. I'll have to be very careful about this, otherwise these wires are going to break here, but I think what I can do is just unscrew these and then just sort of fold the whole thing over so I can get back in there. This has clearly never been out before. All right, can I do it this way or am I in for trouble? We've got locator pins here to deal with. Oh, wait, here we go. Okay, and here are the buttons we have to deal with, and you can see just what's going on with this. These little rubber domes have collapsed. I don't know if I can get them out. Anyway, maybe I can leave these rubber domes in place and have them actuate the new switches. That might be what I try here. I will have to solder the new micro switches in to make contacts, so I'm going to try one, I guess. Oh, we got a couple of buttons falling out. And yeah, I'll do one and then we'll see how it works out, maybe, as a test before I do all of them. Maybe we'll go after this one here first. All right, I have gotten the first switch done, and this is about the position you need to have them in order to have them work. Otherwise, they don't engage the buttons properly. This one is tested and working, and as you can see, I did have to take this whole thing off the board in order to do this. And by the way, you do have to remove the old button caps, and these were just hard and they're just completely disintegrating. No wonder this didn't work. So I'm going to do the rest of these, and I'm trying to see how I can get these things apart so I can change the lamps in there, but not having much luck with that either. But whatever, I will try to figure that out too. Okay, more of an update. I have run into a little bit of a snag with these new micro switches. They don't fully fit inside the housing anymore, so that's a problem. I've been trying to grind a little bit away so that they'll fit better, but that just raises more problems because then these sit too far into this body and then the switches bind up and they're on all the time. So I think what I'll have to do is keep going the way I have and then reinstall this board on spacers. Like maybe a millimeter off the board will get them to work. We'll see. This is going to be very fiddly and very time consuming, so I might as well just crack on with it and update you when I'm done. All right, folks, I figured out the micro lamp situation. These are pressed in from below, so what you got to do is you got to kind of get a tweezer or something in here and pry this side, then that side, and then this side, and then that side until it comes out. And here is the thing right there. I'm not going to bother replacing these now because honestly, I don't like the way these micro switches are working out. This is not a permanent solution to me, I don't think. Thankfully, the actual membranes are available from AliExpress. I just ordered some. That's going to be the permanent solution. I've put all these in so that they can be undone later, and that's probably what's going to happen. I just don't like the way these are going together. I'm having to make too many compromises for a permanent solution here, so let's measure the membranes, the one good one I was able to get out. .8 millimeters on that guy. So hopefully the kit has some of those. I'll have to check. It's a big kit of like 500 or so in various sizes. So maybe I can find something that works out of there. Anyway, I gotta finish this. Remember, this is only just for testing the deck. It doesn't have to be permanent if I don't want it to be permanent. Like I said, as long as I can find the right thingers. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. All right, there it is. We got her. I am using the actual switch bodies themselves as spacers to sort of keep this happy. And I've gone through and I've tested with the multimeter and found that all these button switches are working properly, and this should do for temporary purposes. And I do want to emphasize that, again, temporary. I've had to leave some of these screws a little bit looser than the others just to get these to work. Otherwise, you can tighten them down so much that the buttons stop working, but I think for now it's going to hold, and it's going to enable us to actually get the deck up and running again. I really don't like the way this is set up, but what are you going to do? Until those rubber membranes come, this is the best I can do for now. I'm going to say this is really not something you should try at home. Just get the actual proper membrane buttons for this, because this is really annoying. Anyhow, I wanted to try that solution to see how well it worked out, and now I know how well it works out. Not very well at all. All right, so I have tested all these transport buttons, and they're all working. I was able to get the transport to work well enough to do the test, and everything's working like I said. So the next step is to get the transport out of here so I can service it. And that's going to be a real bear to do, because all of these connections are on wire wrap terminals, pretty much. So I have to desolder the terminals from the boards and just kind of pull them off as I go. Who designed this thing? I just want to talk. Anyway, I better get to this so I can get done. I got to remove the FG coils from up here, or the FG coil connections. Like these two terminals right here have to be removed, and all of the head wires are done using those same type of wire wrapping connections. And oh, by the way, there's a couple of these down under there on the audio board that I've brown circuit glue, and I'm going to have to deal with that as well. Fun stuff. All right, I'm midway through this, and I already want to strangle the guy who came up with the idea to do everything on wire wrapping on this deck. This is an advanced level nightmare here, and my advice to you is, if you're going to work on one of these, get yourself a little label maker like that and label everything, because this is a nightmare. Really. Some of these I've had to unwire wrap, and others I've had to come back to the transport and disconnect off the solenoids, and this is just not fun at all. Thankfully, some of these things are on connectors, so it's not quite so bad, but even still, I'm labeling everything. This is not fun. Not fun at all. They were not thinking about serviceability with this particular deck. All right, I think I got all the wires disconnected. Probably didn't, but whatever. I think most of them done. I just don't know about these Akai people. They're not right in the head, or they weren't back then, because this is really aggravating. This is something else. I don't know that I would want to take on another one of these decks after this, but I suppose if I was being paid enough for it, I would consider it. Anyhow, we have to get behind the display now, because there's a mounting screw back there, because of course there is, for the transport. Why not make it impossible? Okay, now can I get to this screw? Am I going to reinstall this screw later? Don't know. Don't ask me right now, because if you ask me right now, the answer is no. So I want to put this back in. By the way, this has never been apart before. Not one single time has this ever been apart before. I can tell. And I don't wonder why it's never been apart before, because it is aggravating to get into. And this is the last time I ever want to get into this. Fortunately, after I lube it again, I am going to be in the ground by the time I would ever have to get back into this. I think this goes to the transport. I'm not sure. We'll find out. I'm pretty sure it does, actually. I got 2 screws in from the top I got to remove. The bracket on this side has already been removed because I needed to get access to everything else I needed to get access to. This is quite aggravating to work on, in case I haven't said that enough. So now I got to disentangle all the wires here from the harness. Try to bring everything through. Okay, this did not need to be disconnected. Of course it didn't. Okay, I'll pull these yellow ones through if I can. Trying not to hurt the label I put on there, just so I could know where to put these back. Wires snagging all over the place. I've already freed up the head wires. And I got another one I didn't disconnect. Perfect. So that's only one so far. And I got these multicolored cables in the way. Of course I do. You see what I've got to deal with this thing? I just don't know about this thing. Okay, that's been disconnected. Good. So far, I've only got one set of wires that have not been disconnected. This will be the FG coil right here. Yes. And this is getting tangled up in things, because I desoldered the entire wire wrap block on this one. Lots of pictures. You need lots of pictures for this particular deck. I don't know how people managed in the days before cell phones servicing this particular model. I honestly don't. Okay, head wires. Yeah, it's just one set of wires that did not get done yet. I'm going to set this down like so, because I need to extricate my head wires. Then extricate my head from this entire deck and go away for a day, because I don't want to work on this thing anymore after I get these wires freed up. I hope I'm not getting a bunch more broken wires on the power supply from this, because I wouldn't doubt it if there were some. Okay, yes, just 2 wires and it's out. 2 wires, and that's all. Can I desolder them from the actual motor board instead of dealing with a friggin' power supply? It looks like it. So why don't I just do it that way instead of try to disconnect from the power supply? Because I can't get access to the solder joints, that's why. This is probably the main Capstan power supply wires I'm working on here, but there was another set of power supply wires from the Capstan motor that I've already disconnected. Okay, I'm going to take a picture of that, because we've got a definite polarity thing to worry about here. And I will print a label for that guy as well. Thankfully, I no longer need my desoldering station, and I can concentrate on this. Just 2 wires, that's all, just 2 wires. Oh, I'm so glad I bought this printer. You have no idea how glad I am that I bought this printer. And there we go. I'm gonna have to cut that zip tie because otherwise I can't get my Capstan motor or my transport away. But I can now. Move the whole unit back. And I think I got everything out now that I need to separate the transport. If I can just get things to stop getting tangled up. And there we go. We've got the we've got the transport out. We've got the Capstan motor out too, but it's attached to this. Anyway, I can now do my service job, and I really hope that my solenoids are intact because I had to desolder both of these things in order to disconnect the wires. Actually, I will check them on camera with you. Why not? Okay, we'll leave it in auto because it'll read the resistance just fine that way. 100 ohms, that one's good. I've already checked this one, it's good too, so. Thank Christ for that, it's over. Well, that nightmare is over. I've got to finish the rest of the nightmare here and service the transport now, and I can't do that with the main body of the deck sitting up here because it's too big. Wonderful. I'll see you tomorrow or Tuesday or something. I gotta go away for a while. Alright, I guess we're gonna service the power door mechanism before we get into the transport itself, and not too hard to see how this works. There's a multiple area of gear reduction over here to help the get out of my way, you stupid wires, to help the motor open a very large and heavy door, and there's a clutch back in here to enable you to actually use the mechanism without worrying about busting the motor. So oh, this is going to be real fun. I think the current cause of the door being a little bit lazy is the pivot in here needs to be greased or lubricated, but be warned, even though there's a C-clip here, there's a very large and heavy spring directly under there, so it's gonna want to go flying on us as soon as we take that off. So, oh boy, is that ever a stiff spring. Let's see, what do I need to get that off? Yes, the body of the deck is still on the table. No, I don't feel like moving it right now. Clip is off. Gently release the spring tension and the spring. And there's our clutch right there. And yeah, that definitely feels like it's a little bit not good anymore in there. So we've got another clip to release. That switch there is the one, I guess, that tells it to turn or not turn. I didn't pay attention to how this was on there, so I'm going to have to look at my footage later in order to figure that out. Buy another Akai, I said. It'll be fun, I said. Nope, I've never said that once. All right, the little C-clip is released. Put it down next to its much larger buddy. And there we go. They might have only used oil there. I'm not sure, but I will use Molly Coat. I do not want anything that's going to add a whole lot of friction, because that might be not good for the entire mechanism. because there's kind of a delicate balance here between that clutch action and whatnot. So I'll just clean up and molly coat this, and then I'll dribble some oil into this area. I think that's the way to handle that. A pipe cleaner is just the thing I need, and I have one. That should do the job right there. Clean out the center of that as well. Don't want to get any oil or anything on this clutch. That would be bad, and I don't think I could replace it if I had to. Good old EM30L. The Permatex might work too in this area, but I would just rather use Molykote. Just a very light grease. That is moving well. And I should do a cleanup of the clutch mating surface here. And I'm not going to do anything to this pivot right here. I'm going to just leave that be. I don't think it has any lube inside it at all. So I really have to figure out exactly where this was clocked before I put this back together. But before I do that, I'm going to get right in the middle with a little bit of Molykote as well. And now it is time to do a transport service on this deck before all my labels on these wires start falling off and I can't figure out where they go anymore. Chances are I'd be able to figure them out anyway, but whatever. I just want to get this done so I can not worry about it for the next, I don't know how long. So the first thing we're going to need to do, I think, is pull the door off this thing, which involves disconnecting the damper mechanism back here. I really hope I have an idler tire for this. I'm not sure if I do, but I have a bunch of the ones that are used by the mechanism in the GXZ 9100, so maybe that's what this one takes. I don't know. I will find out, though, as time goes by. Now, how much fun am I going to have getting this little clip off? Probably not very much. I love the all-metal construction of this thing. It's very un-Nakamichi-like, if you ask me. I like Nakamichi now, but they could have used a lot more metal parts in their tape decks than they did. Anyway, one major thing I worry about on this particular deck is whether or not the heads are going to be any good. However, this is really intended to be a recording-only deck for me, so I'm not sure how much I have to really worry about that. It's basically taking over my vaporwave recording duties from the GXZ 9100, which is, as mentioned on a number of occasions, just a reference deck for me now. So I'm trying not to use that too often for recording vaporwave anymore. So is this going to be enough to remove the door, or do I have to go any further? There's very little documentation online about this model at all, so I'm really not sure how anything comes apart. Well, it's loose on one side, but not the other side. Oh, here we go. I have it. I think the damper mechanism is stuck on something back inside the other side of the unit again. I don't know if I can show you, but it's kind of holding up on a roller back in there. I don't know what I need to do to release it. Maybe I should have removed the damper from this side. Maybe that would have been the smarter thing to do, because we've got a clip right there. How about I just take that clip out? There we go. And that's out. Okay, yes, there we go. That's the way to do that. You remove the clip from the door side, not this area back here, so I can reinstall this clip now. Okay, that's been fixed up again. So back to the other side. The problem is we can't get access to the real drive components until we take the capstan motor out, so that's why we have to get in here first. I love that this is a simpler design than the BLM 310 that's in the GXZ 9100, but I don't know. There's an awful lot of moving parts here for something that's just a single capstan design. Anyhow, we've got the beauty plate removed. And it looks like we have one of these types of lamps here. I wonder what voltage that's at. Probably not a voltage I have, and anyway, it is actually working on this deck, so I'm not going to replace it just now. But it's good to know that this is the lamp for it, so I have that measured at 5 volts there, so that's a 5-volt lamp, and I don't have that. I definitely do not have that. So, yes, we've got one belt here that I didn't know about. Actually seems like it's in decent shape. Let's take that off. We got to get the real tables out anyway. And I will measure this right quick. And what I get is 42.8 or 43, so 86 millimeter internal circumference. I will go a little bit tighter than that, and I will use my 0.7s because all that's doing is turning this little sensor right here. And I see a micro switch I'm going to have to clean. There's a photodiode right there, or photodetector right there. And I want to take the head block off and service that, but that's going to be hard because one of the thingers is down under there, and I have to somehow get that E-clip off. Very interesting how this is designed. Anyway, I need to try to get the capstan motor out now. That's going to need servicing. And I don't believe this has ever been serviced before. But I could be wrong about that. And I'm going to try to save the pinch roller too, but I don't know. As much work as it takes to get inside one of these things, I'm almost just as tempted to completely replace it. But we'll see how I feel about when I get to that part. Anyway, capstan motor should be loose now, which means I can remove at least one of these irritating wires from my periphery. And yeah, there it is. It's not like any motor I've ever seen before. At least not like any capstan motor I've seen before. So we've got 4 screws here to get inside it. Plenty of slop in the thrust bearings. That should actually be okay, I think. Normally I'd worry about having that much slop in a capstan motor, but I don't think it's a problem for a direct drive motor like this one. And I don't even know that it's adjustable on this one. Okay, now what's inside the box? Can we get into the box? Oh, I see how that is. There's this little bracket here that's holding everything in. So I guess I'll just bend it and just get the flywheel out. Maybe. Maybe it's just the fact that it hasn't had oil in God knows how long. So I'll get some oil to the front and then try it again. Oh yes, that's the ticket. That is the ticket indeed. So, time to clean out that bearing because it felt real dry to me. I'll get the acetone out because I'm going to need it. And we'll just clean the bearing out. Real good. Yeah, there's basically nothing on the pipe cleaner, so this was dry as a bone. Wait, is that an oiling port right there? Yeah, that's totally an oiling port right there. I didn't have to get into this, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to shoot some air through the bearing just to make sure there's no debris from the pipe cleaner in there. I didn't see any, but it's good practice to do anyway. And now because I actually physically took this apart, I can just go ahead and clean this real good and get fresh oil in, and she'll be all happy. I'm going to have to remember about that oiling port right there for the next time I'm into one of these, if I'm ever into another one of these. These are crazy rare decks. At least this model is. I'm not speaking for Akai in general. Akai in general's not that hard to find, but this deck, yes. It is hard to find. Squeaky, squeaky. Nice clean shafty. And that is acetone I'm using to do all my cleaning with of this particular piece. With a Kim wipe just to leave no debris behind. And we got to clean this bearing right here and relube with fresh Molykote EM30L. And I see no capacitors to worry about on this board, so should be good to go. I'm not even going to worry about trying to get at that foam to remove it. I think it'll stay where it is. And honestly, I can't see a way to even get back into there to remove it, so I'm going to leave it be. All right, I haven't really given this much time for the oil to soak in yet, but it should be all right. Maybe. It's moving pretty well, but just in case, I will throw another drop or two into that hole, since they've been so kind as to provide one. And look at that, it's moving extremely well. All right, I will put this back together and then we will get started on the actual transport. All right, next step. Remove the reel drive assembly and service that, I think. But before we do that, there's a spring to worry about right down yonder that will have to go back where it is currently. There we go. And that spring has to stay off for a little while because it needs to be off in order to get the head block removed. There are two more springs in these other two holes. We're going to leave those in because I don't think they come out just yet. Now, I think we've got 3 screws, one of which was really tight, and now the reel drive part comes off. And you can see where the springs are and what they kind of do here. I'm going to be relubing all of this and most likely using this grease. I think we're going to be using a lot of this grease in this transport. Kind of an interesting way they've got this put together. So what do we got here? This is the idler arm here. And then this arm releases and engages the brakes. And it looks like we've got felt clutches inside both reel tables. Interesting. Clutch action feels all right on this, so I don't know that I'll worry about that, but clearly I do have to worry about this little spring and removing the idler so I can replace the tire, because man, does it ever need it. Okay, spring is loose. I hate these ultra tiny C-clips because they're almost always impossible to remove. Okay, idler is off. Now I will measure the outer circumference, or the outer diameter of said idler. Wherein I will get 19.8 millimeters, so 20 millimeters ought to work. This idler tire is dead. Well, mostly dead. It's a little bit hard, but it's not so hard that it's unable to come off. Okay, inner diameter of the idler wheel is about 14.8. And the tire thickness is 2.2. 20 by 15 by 2.2. Let me see what I can find for an idler. And I think we might be in luck here. This is going to be just a little bit big when it's installed, but a little extra size doesn't really matter too much as long as the mechanism works properly. So let's get this on and measure. See if it's going to work before I do anything more with this idler tire assembly. I haven't cleaned this tire up yet, but perfect fit, it seems like. Diameter with it installed is 20.7. This is going to work. I just have that feeling it's going to work. So we'll drop it into place. We'll use the spring to pull it down, and yeah, this will work. This will absolutely work. We're going to go with that. It does need to be spaced a little bit in there. I need some kind of a spacer because it is a little bit too, not wide enough, I should say, or tall enough. Whatever. Anyway, I think the old rubber could be reused and rubber renewed, but obviously, if I've got a newer, well, no, this rubber is cracking and splitting. Let's get rid of it. Trash. Next step, since we have found our idler, is to get this wheel off and work on it. And I've got a spring that's snagging on my cloth here. So we've got a little split washer to remove, which it, of course, does not want to do. Clip has been removed finally, and now I can pull this off. There's a little locator pin on this that goes down into that hole right down yonder. And it looks like the clutch is not really that serviceable in this. So I'm just going to clean this out through the middle. Put a little moly coat in there, and that should handle that, I think. Pipe cleaner with iso alcohol on it. And I'll take the same pipe cleaner and I'll just wind it around here to clean out the surface for the new idler tire. And that should be good for that. Now I'm trying to figure out how I can space this out so that the idler tire isn't wandering around on the finger. 3000 grit sandpaper so I can prep the new tire is what I need to do. I'm just dragging it across the sandpaper to clean off the imperfections in the rubber. All right, that's a nice clean idler tire. On it goes. Yeah, I would try to put a little belt or something in there to space that, but I don't think that's going to help anything. I don't have any belts that are small enough to do that. I've got the 0.7 millimeter belts in that kit, but I do not think that's going to work. So I'm going to have to leave it like this and just hope that the deck works properly with it. It doesn't have to be perfect for WoW and Flutter, not this one. Although I would like it to be. Now for this pivot down here, I'm not going to be able to use grease. So what I will do is I will dribble some oil in there. This is that same compressor oil that I use for capstan bearings and such. Okay, molly coat. Just a little bit right in the middle of the idler wheel should do. Just that much. Have the shaft push it through. Clean the excess grease off. And just a little dab of grease down in the middle where the split washer goes. There, that's one idler serviced. Now, put that to the side. I want to deal with these brakes as well. Which means releasing one more spring and 3 more C-clips. And won't this be fun? Please don't go flying. Okay, those are done. Off comes the brake plate. And now I can clean this and re-grease and reinstall. Like I said, that will be Permatex based, not Molykote based, because this is all metal on metal right here. Man, this grease has been on there for a long time. I'm already feeling the urge to stow the iso alcohol and get the acetone out, because some of this stuff is resisting the iso alcohol. I feel like I need to scrape some of this old grease off. It's that bad and that solidified. Trying to be careful not to get the acetone anywhere near the reel tables, because I got a feeling this is the type of reel table plastic that will melt with acetone. Now, while I've still got the acetone on this Q-tip, I'm going to go around the reel motor pulley. It's probably about as good as I'm going to get that. Now, what's this other linkage back here? Oh, it's the actuation linkage for the actual brakes, with a little bitty solenoid back there. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to worry about putting things back in where they're supposed to go. Just get some oil down to the front bearing. That should do. I like to work the shaft up and down a little bit just to make sure some oil starts getting into that bearing. And I think it's there, so can put this little piece back on. All right, how does that feel? Pretty doggone good, I gotta say. Moving well. I like things that move well inside cassette decks. Put the lid on the Permatex for now because I have to get inside the reel tables, and how much fun is this going to be? Easier than I was expecting, apparently. Okay, we've got a washer directly under that cap. I can barely see it against my cloth, that washer. I just got to remember that it's sitting right next to the cap. And yeah, I'm happy with the way the clutch is working. Nothing much needing to be serviced there, except for the fact that there's this little pin on this particular doohickey that goes into a hole right down there. So remember that when you reinstall one of these reel tables. Spring fits over that little white piece as well, but I'm going to get in there and clean that, so I have to keep that off for now. And then you could use oil, but I always use Molykote EM30L on these reel table shafts. And it's never really been a problem. Now I'm going to need more pipe cleaners, because I like to stick pipe cleaners through these little reel tables to clean them. It's exactly what I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to go in from the top just to keep from pulling the entire reel table assembly apart, because sometimes that happens with these things. I will save that pipe cleaner for the other side as well. That should be good right there. And that's one done. Well, except for the fact I gotta put things together. Oh, right, I forgot about this. I'm basically taking half my Molykote off just by reinstalling this. I should have done the Molykote after that was on, so I'll just give it one more quick little swipe there. I'm satisfied with that. And reel table goes back on. Release brakes, wipe off the tip there. Washer, which I thankfully did not lose. And cap. That one feels good. Now I just got to do this other one the same way I just did that one. And there you have it, one serviced reel drive assembly. Now I will set this off to the side because it's not going back in until we're a little bit further along with this procedure, because we have to do this part now. And I think I will forgo doing these arms back here until I've got the head block off. I think that's the right call. So let's turn it over. By the way, I'm not taking this bracket off. I don't think I need to, so we'll leave that alone. Just trying to organize some screws here because they're kind of rolling all over the place right now. We'll take these two screws out, which weren't even tight. Well, that one wasn't. This one is. This one is fighting. Oh, this one's really fighting. I might have to get some heat on that one. Nope, no heat required. Just a lot of force. We got her. Thanks to my vessel screwdrivers, which have paid for themselves many times over at this point. So I'll pull this up a little bit just to get it out of the way. Screws back in so I can remember where they went. And now what do we got here? We got two springs, one big clip. This is the area that the spring from the reel table went on. then we've got this one clip up in there, and that one's going to be the most trouble because the head is blocking the way. All right, I got it. Oh, that was a pain, but I got it. This pinch roller pivot's going to need serious attention. That's what's really seized up on this. Like every other Akai I've worked on. Okay, clip number 2 is off. Head block should be released now, but I still need to get these springs off somehow, in some way. Really not that difficult, though. Let's see, anything else I need to worry about here? Yeah, the pinch roller is really gummed up on this. Okay, I'm just noticing we have a little head wire retainer over here that I should probably remove. That way I can get some slack on these head wires to set the head block down out of my way while I work on it. Now, am I going to be able to get this past the pinch roller? Yes, apparently. Okay, and here's the underside, and look at all that nasty grease. The damping grease is not terrible, but I think it needs to be replaced. Fortunately, I can do that. And ball bearings, we have 1, 2, and 3. I'll just take them out for now. I'm not anywhere near ready to put them back in yet. There's another sliding head plate we need to get rid of. And how do I do that? I think maybe I remove this bracket here to do that. But I'm going to start cleaning first because this is a mess right now. Once again, iso alcohol barely making a dent in this stuff. All right, you asked for it. Acetone. This is why I have this stuff. I was supposed to get more stuff so I could do my painting work on my decks I need to repaint, but I forgot to buy it when I was last in the city doing my shopping. It is available locally, but it's more expensive locally. So I like to coordinate things for when my folks go into Swift Current to do their usual end-of-month shopping. And I just carpool with them. That's how I found out about that awesome record store in Swift Current. I bought 6 albums, so I keep forgetting that I was going to get back into that Pioneer turntable and finish it, but one of these days I'll have to remember. The problem is I've been so concentrating on the 670ZX for my customer that I haven't really had time to think about my own stuff. That is moving freely, so I don't believe I will mess with that. If I mess with that, then I have to reset the height of the erase head, and I don't want to do that right now. I want to continue cleaning right now is what I want to do. I should be pulling this arm off before doing any more cleaning, actually. So let's do that. This arm is not apparently spring-loaded, so I can just take it off. And off she comes. I will clean that and relube it, of course. And I still don't have access. I need to remove this little piece here, which activates these 2 switches. I guess this is for tape type detection, these 2 switches here. So make note of how they are before you take them off. You didn't see that on camera, did you? For Pete's sake. Okay, here's the switches I'm talking about. Right here. You can kind of see how they work. A little bit, maybe. These are for tape type detection. And I got to delete another clip here so I can get this arm off to relube it. Thankfully, all these clips appear to be the same size, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. Now, these are 2 independent arms here, so what are they going to want to do when I release the spring tension. Well, I'm going to leave them like that. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, now this plate has 2 clips to remove. Now I can get this little doohickey off to relube it. I'll set that up out of the way because I want to do this stuff down here as well, because this ties in with a pinch roller. So I'm going to release the spring tension down here. And let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 clips. And now I can do clean, 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 relube, relube, relube. But I will actually put that right back down for now, so I remember where it goes. There's a washer under it too. What I really want to do is try to get this pinch roller off now. And I'm going to need heat for that, because it is barely moving. So I'll heat up the soldering iron, and I guess while that's warming up, I will start doing some cleaning. Put the iron right there, and we'll let the heat loosen up the grease. I'm watching the shaft to make sure it doesn't turn with the action of moving back and forth the way I am. I think it's okay. It's already loosening up. Ooh, we got a shaft trying to pull out of the pinch roller. Great. You know what? I'm just going to pull that out, and I will deal with that later, because I'm trying to get this arm out now. And I think it's good to go now. It's coming. It's almost there. It's off. Thank God for that, but now I have to epoxy a pinch roller shaft back in. Ain't that going to be fun? So I'm putting it back together now. And I'm missing a washer that's supposed to be underneath there, but I could put that back in later. Actually, no, I have to remove that shaft again and put the washer on again so I don't screw up my spacing on this. Okay, I'm happy with this action, but that's going to need some epoxy, because we don't want that pulling out again. That would be bad, and I don't have any more 5-minute epoxy, dang it, so I may have to put this on hold till tomorrow, because all I've got is the 24-hour cure JB Weld stuff for this. We can still do some stuff on camera right now, like we can get our acetone back out and clean out the pivot, because this is going to have a bunch of old solidified grease in it, because it was barely moving. That's why this whole deck didn't work. A little more acetone on the pinch roller shaft, and we should never have another problem with that once I get some moly coat on that shaft. And you know, maybe there's a way I can get this job done with the 24-hour cure epoxy. So I guess we'll keep going, is what I'm saying there. Oh, and I see there's this little linkage up here. This goes into, or this corresponds with this hole at the top of the head block thinger. The sliding plate thingy, the doohickey, you know, the thing. Anyway, I'm going to keep going with cleaning this up, and then, I don't know, I'll come back on camera at some point. Okay, quick little update here as I go along. I'm still in the process of relubing and reinstalling everything. Haven't done this linkage here, but I'll get to it. I found a problem with this switch right here. It was never actually getting to a point where it actually closed ever. So I think I have it set where it can now. I think the idea is for that to switch to open up when a metal tape is inserted into the device. So I had to just bend those little leaves so that would happen. This one has not been cleaned yet because I didn't know it was there until just a second ago, but I will do that. No problem. Okay, I need to give you some pinch roller dimensions before I go too much further with this. I will measure the shaft first. 2.3 millimeters, so a 2.5 millimeter pinch roller would be ideal for this. And the roller itself is 12.9 by 7.7. So 13 by 8 by 2.5. That's what you want for a pinch roller on this. And I don't know if I have one, so I hope I can bring this one back around. I will find out. I will do that off camera and come back with you. All right, folks, the verdict is the pinch roller is good. Does not need to be replaced. What I do have to do, since the hub is plastic, I will be using Molykote to lube that up again. And that applies to everything connected to the pinch roller as well. I'm only using Molykote EM30L on the smaller moving parts here. So keep that in mind. The only places I'm using the Permatex is in these big sliding pieces here. That's where that stuff is needed. And I will have to apply just a little bit more on this head block yet. But things are going well so far. I don't know if they'll keep going well, but we'll find out when I'm done. All right, progress has progressed. I'm slowly getting this thing back together. I had to fiddle with this switch again because I think I screwed it up earlier. Forgot just how these go. I think I got things in correctly now, and all these switches are working. So I guess we're good. I don't know. I have to put the real drive back in, but pinch roller's moving extremely well. I don't know if I can show you the epoxy that's under there, but you can kind of see it right there, center of your screen. Anyhow, it's not interfering with anything, I don't think. I think maybe I got a little bit on the head block, but not too much. It would have scraped off while I was reinstalling the head block, but I'm not worried about that. It can stay there. Or I can clean it off. I'll probably clean it off. Anyway, I'm going to put the real drive back in, find a belt for this sensor, and then theoretically it's done after that. Well, I have to reinstall the Capstan motor, but whatever. Oh, that's right. I have to re-lube these linkages back here as well. Thankfully, there aren't too many of them, and you can kind of see how they are in this shot. There's one back down in there. I don't know if I'll do anything with that one. That's for the lockout, so it won't open the door while a tape is playing. Maybe I should do that one. I'll just go ahead and do it. Anyway, let me get to it. There's not too much here to do, so I will just get it done. All right, I got the backside of this re-greased using the Permatex stuff. Had no problems, except there's a little spring in here. One side goes against this arm, the other side goes against this bracket. So make sure you put that back where it came from, because it's for the release here, or for the lockout there. Anyhow, I used Molykote EM30L because I wanted a lighter lubricant there, but everything else is Permatex. So I got to reinstall the real drive now, and I'm just about done here. I hope everything works when I'm done. That'd be great. All right, transport is theoretically done, except for the fact I didn't have a new lamp for inside there, but whatever. Anyway, because I have to now wait for the epoxy to cure on the pinch roller shaft, I think I'm just going to call it a day from here because it's already like 4:30. And tomorrow I will probably re-lube the door assembly and then throw it back together, and then we can test. I forgot to mention something important. You do have to loosen off that one solenoid in back. this one here in order to get these linkages out. So what I did was I loosened up these two screws here, but I also made note of where they're positioned because this is an adjustment. You want that to be exactly where it was set before, so something to keep in mind. All right, it is now Wednesday, and tomorrow is Thursday, which means the day after that is Friday, which means I have to get this video done for then. I've been editing as I go along, and this video is getting quite long, so I think what I'm going to do is do the door service completely off camera, but first I will show you how it is, so you can see what the construction is of this particular device. It's not too complicated, but it is complicated enough that it's probably good if I show you exactly what I'm dealing with here. I think I'm going to go with Molykote EM30L entirely to re-grease this because it's on a damper, so I don't really want anything too thick when it comes to grease on this. I'd rather have it open too quickly than, you know, not open properly, and that was out of its little holder. So anyway, that's how that goes. So you can see how the door is from hopefully this footage. And I think what I'll probably do is, like I said, go off camera and completely do this off camera, and then throw everything back in the deck after that. And the next segment you will see is testing the deck again. It's going to take me a couple hours this afternoon to get this thing back in the deck once I'm even done with this door. So, yeah, there's a lot of work to do here. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking picking an Akai for this week, but I think I was probably thinking, well, if I do an Akai, it's going to make that 670ZX seem a lot easier. And that's true, but yeah, this is really stressing me out, this deck. Akais always do that to me, so I should have known. Anyway, I'm going to work on this here door. Show you one more time how the linkages are. And then I will see you tomorrow for testing of the deck itself. I may fire it up in between times just to see if the Capstan motor runs, but that's probably all I will do this afternoon. All right, folks, the reassembly part of this was so ridiculously irritating that I'm kind of thinking maybe I do this power-up test on camera in case the magic smoke comes out, which is a very real possibility. I had multiple wires break trying to put this thing back in, but I think I got it. Let's find out. Powering on now. Capstan motor running. We've got power up here. I see no magic smoke. Thank Christ for that. We'll do the rest of our testing tomorrow, Thursday. Oh, why did I buy this deck? Oh yeah, because it's supposed to be Akai's best. Anyway, we'll see what happens with the testing tomorrow and see if anything works. Okay, I think it's officially time to find out whether or not I did anything for this deck at all. I'm still not sure about this. I don't know how many more wires are cracked and broken in this deck. There could be a lot, there could be none, I don't know. Y'all will have to excuse me today. I was out shooting lightning until midnight last night. Got lightning in slow motion video for the first time ever last night, too, by the way, thanks to the Z8. Shot 4K 120. I was really happy with how that turned out, and that camera was brutally expensive, but it keeps rewarding me, so kind of glad I bought it, I guess. Anyway, we need to see if this works. I am not expecting this to fully work. It's an Akai after all, and it's a high-end Akai from 1981, so I'm sure there are more problems to find, but hopefully we can get it to play a tape and give us audio, because I really want to take a look at this in the NAC T100 software and A, see how good the wow and flutter is, and B, find out whether or not the playback head is any good in this thing. Anyway, before we check this out, I managed to get the power cord cleaned up quite nicely, so should have no more issues with the deck not getting power. So let's plug her in, power back on. Let's Still working this morning, unlike my brain. And we'll get a tape in there. And now we can see what's up. Rewind works. Fast forward works. It's not particularly fast, but whatever. Let's see if playback works. Yes, it does. I'm going to do that one more time because I wasn't paying attention to see if both solenoids kicked in. There's a pause solenoid and a playback solenoid, and I think they both have to kick in. Yeah, it's absolutely working. Do you guys want to hook up audio? I want to hook up audio. Give me a second. Now, I should mention that I cleaned these controls up front, but I only spray cleaned them for now. I didn't have time to get in there and really open up the switches and pots and do all the work they really need. So I don't know how good this is going to sound, but we'll see. It's playing at the right speed. I'm happy about that for sure. So we got this thing working. I was expecting more of a fight from this, but I shouldn't have said that because I'm going to jinx it now, I'm sure. And notice it is detecting chromium dioxide tapes properly. So I want to do some testing here, and I want to see if it detects a chrome tape properly, or not a chrome, a metal tape. Like I said, I was out until midnight last night, and I am exhausted, so my brain's out. Okay, metal is detected properly. Metal's good, we like that. Let's see. Let's try a normal tape. This one's got DBX on it, so yep, it's properly detected. Very good. I'm happy about that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this recording calibration tape in. I'll wind into it a little bit. I want to see if it calibrates this tape. Now, where's my front panel so I can tell what the buttons do? It's right in front of me, is what it is. Okay, I don't know how this works, but I guess I push this button. It errored out. Okay, so there's an issue with that. But remember, the azimuth hasn't been adjusted. Nothing's been adjusted. I don't know what's going on here. So it errored out with that tape. Let me try a different one. Okay, we'll try this TDKSA. See if it does this one. Well, it's getting further. It's on the EQ stage. I think it's taking longer than I would like it to, so there's probably going to be another error. Maybe. It's on level. So I'm going to say the autocal needs work. But that time it completed. Very good. So, yeah, the next step is for me to go off camera and align the azimuth, and then we can check the playback frequency response and see what it's doing for wow and flutter. How does that sound? I think I will do that after lunch because I am already falling off a cliff for energy, so I will see you this afternoon. Okay, Windows is currently updating, so I might as well take this time to show you how the door is working now. It's closing much more firmly than it used to. At least for now. I hope it'll stay like that, but I don't know. Before we get into the actual measurements here, I just wanted to reassert one more time that nothing in this deck has been calibrated yet beyond azimuth, which, by the way, was perfect. We do have a playback level imbalance between channels, and God knows what else needs to be calibrated on this. The entire auto calibration system has a procedure where you have to recalibrate as well, so the fact that it wouldn't calibrate that one tape isn't really an indication yet as to whether or not the playback head is any good. In fact, I don't think I'm even going to be able to determine that until I finish all the calibrations this deck requires, and there's a lot of them. And I don't have time for any of them anytime soon, so I don't know when we're going to get back to this. Apologies for coming up with another tape deck here that is going to be sitting for a while before there's another update on it, but whatever. All right, first things first. Wow and Flutter. The deck's been on for a couple of minutes now, so I guess we'll see what kind of a result we get from this. Anyway, here we go. .042% it looks like, with a spike around 5 hertz. Not exactly sure what that would be, but looks like the speed is relatively on target, 3003 hertz. I'm not upset about this. It's running pretty much dead even with the GXZ 9100 for WoW and Flutter. I was hoping for better, but I'm not disappointed at all with this. Direct drive deck from 1981, can't expect too much from it. And I've done literally everything possible to get that number as good as it can be, so I'm not sure if there's anything else I can really do for that. But let's go over and check the frequency response now. This is the big one. All right, white noise tape from the GXZ 9100 going in. I'll use my older metal tape first. And let's see what happens. Oh, actually the high end is there. It's not bad at all. Flat to about 18 kilohertz it looks like. Okay, I'll take that. The heads are in good shape in this deck. I like that. I like that very much, but let's go in with one of the new white noise tapes I did. See how that looks. Oh yeah, the playback head's good in this. Playback head's very good in this. Anyway, I'm very happy with how this deck has turned out. For how much work I've already had to put into it, the fact that it is performing this well is remarkable. So, before we close out this video, I wanted to show you a couple of things that have come in from Japan that just recently showed up. And by recently, I mean like 2 hours ago. First, I got the new tapes for doing better white noise tapes with. These are Axia PS Metal 40 minutes. I got 5 of them, so should be plenty. Next thing I wanted to show is this. This is a remote control for the CR70, which didn't come with one. I ordered this one from Japan because it looked like it was a little bit better quality than some of the other generic remotes on the market for that. And I like that all these buttons are kind of labeled as to what they do, so I got a remote for that deck now. And the other thing is the last St. Saëns recording came in for doing the recording test on my customer 670ZX. So I'm not exactly sure how this one will sound, but I think I'm probably going to go with that Telarc recording. Anyway, I guess that's going to be it for today, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.